welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, KK Konishiro. It's very exciting to have an Olympian champion with us, but even more so when that champion is such a great supporter of students here in Fremont and beyond. We all know Kristi Yamaguchi as a gold medal winning figure skater from the 1992 Winter Olympics, and also perhaps the 2006 winner of Dancing with the Stars. What you may not know is that Kristi grew up right here in Fremont and has spent the last 20 years promoting education and literacy through her Always Dream Foundation. Here today to speak with us about her career on and off the ice is Miss Kristi Yamaguchi, and also our favorite co-host, Dr. Jim Morris. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We are very excited that you're here and very honored that you made time for us, so thank you so much for coming. Now, most everyone knows that you did grow up here in Fremont, but how did being part of the community play in such a big role in your life now? What does that mean to you?
I'm definitely a proud California girl, and I think growing up here in Fremont, there was just a lot of great opportunity, and my family definitely put their roots down here. My mom and dad, and actually my brother's family still live in the area, but I think there was great diversity and obviously wonderful education system, and proximity to all the other wonderful things the Bay Area has to offer.
I can't disagree with that. But when I was preparing for the show, I noticed Mission San Jose actually named a day after you. What day is that, and what was that like? How exciting was that?
You know what? I actually don't know what exact day it is. I want to say it's early March.
Okay.
At some point, because it was they did a nice rally and actually presented me with a letter jacket, which,
nice.
A figure skater to receive a letter jacket was pretty cool from your school. But it was kind of a send-off to the World Championships, which I had qualified for the first time that year.
Nice. Now, when you were preparing for your career on the ice, were you homeschooled, or did you go to Mission a lot, or part-time, or how did that work out?
Yes, so I had a quite interesting schedule. The first 2 years of high school, freshman and sophomore, I was independent study.
Okay.
So I would report to school. We're at Robertson, and would receive my assignments and work with my teacher there for once a week, and then take everything home and log my hours and all of that. But I felt I wanted a little more stimulation and wanted to be back in a classroom. And so went in and approached Mission, and they were very flexible with allowing with my competitive schedule. I think things have probably changed now, but back then. So I was able to come on campus for three classes, and then my other classes were continued through independent study, and one of them was PE, which ended up being skating, so that worked out. But it was great. I had some great memories and experiences being able to have those couple years at Mission.
Do you have a favorite counselor or teacher?
Oh, let me see. Favorite teacher. Well, one thing that I still get comments on to this day was my English teacher senior year was Mr. Magorno. I'm sure he's long gone by now, but before graduation, he made all of us turn in our last assignment and shake his hand, and he told us how to shake a hand. He's like, this is how I want you guys to learn how to shake a hand. Like, be aggressive, get your hand in there and do a firm handshake. Like don't do this little, that just doesn't feel good when people meet you. You want to make an impression. And so it's funny that to this day, sometimes when I shake people's hands, they're like, wow, that's quite a handshake. Thanks, Mr. Magorno.
Well, since I've been the superintendent here, I attend every graduation and shake the hand of every student who's graduating. And there are, probably 2,400 over the course of 3 days in June. And man, do these kids in this school district know how to shake hands. 'Cause I have it down, the salon pass pad on my elbow. And,
getting a workout there.
Because I'll tell you, it really is a skill. And some students know how to do it really well.
And I've seen you do it. He does shake 2,400 hands. It's amazing.
So let me ask, how, you have this giving spirit and this just love for giving back to the community. did that come from your parents? Is it something you acquired? How does that value, and you've given so much, not just to our school district, but to the community as a whole with the park and just so many good projects. Where does that value come from?
I would definitely have to credit my parents for instilling that value, our family, my brother and sister and I. And I just remember even as kids, it was always important that we got to give back to the community, and it's not just about us, it's about helping everyone around us. So whether it was volunteering or just putting our time in at school functions or other places, church, it was always very important for them that we all did that as a family. So I think as success started to come through skating, it was always very at the front of their minds that you need to do something. And I agreed, because I think we felt very fortunate for the support that I had received, coming up as a skater, young skater, as well as after. And, I think it was just in their genes to go that direction and then passing it on to us.
I mean, it really is when you think about people who are incredibly talented, and we have students in this district who are incredibly talented in lots of different ways, but instilling that value of saying, you don't just come through a school district or a community or a city, you also have a responsibility to give back. That's, if we could find a secret recipe for how some of those parents instill that value, it's just something I think our community values, but we really have to hone in on what that recipe is and give a dose of that to everybody.
And I think because you're celebrity status, I think our kids now see, well, she can do it. I certainly can do that. I can serve at the church. I can serve in any possible way, because we only have, 150 different nonprofits you can choose from here. So there's wonderful choices around, but I think when they see Kristi give back all the time, it's easily achievable for them at their level. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's just, it doesn't have to be monetary or, material. It's just giving of your time or, just helping out in some way.
Kate, now a friend asked me to ask you this question. What was more difficult, training for the Olympics or Dancing with the Stars?
I get that a lot.
Do you?
I do. I'm like, well, Kate, here, put in perspective, the Olympics took 14 years to prepare for. So, I mean, that was definitely a lifelong pursuit. And, it took a village, really, for me to accomplish that, between family, community, coaches, all of that. So, for sure, the Olympics. But, I mean, Dancing with Stars, it was tough. It was a big challenge.
It was a crash course.
Crash course, 10 weeks. It was, short and sweet, but very intense for those 10 weeks,
Now, what words of encouragement would you give to any child out there, whether they're learning piano, ice skating, football, how to stay focused? Because there's so many outside interests, influences that can derail their goal or their dream, or however you want to say it. But what words of encouragement would you give to anyone out there watching to stay focused, love your dream, and,
to keep on track.
Yes.
There's going to be challenges for sure, but I think if you really have a strong passion for what you're doing and you have a clear end goal, and it might be at the Olympics, and for me, even at 12, 13, it seemed impossible, but just the imagining the possibility kept me going year after year after year and wanting to improve. So, you might have your big main dream out there, but setting small goals for yourself, daily and weekly will help you make it feel like it's manageable and
not overwhelming.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, go ahead.
And I think that idea of working hard, and I just want to reinforce that important point you said, because it really took the support of your family. You achieved greatness but with the help of
Right.
all of this other team around you. And I think that's something important for important message for us to carry to students and to young people today, that it's not just you. Yes, you have to have that focus. Yes, you have to have that vision.
But
And-
Mom's got to drive me there.
Yes, yeah, you have to convince them it's worth it. It really is. I'm going to work hard. But you're right, it is, and you can't be afraid of hard work. I think that was one
Yeah.
piece of advice my coach had taught her students, and I was very young, and she's like, don't be afraid of hard work. And I think as an athlete, you learn that there's no instant gratification. You know, the world today, everything's so instant.
Right.
And I think kids are used to that, and they're used to constant stimulation, but when you need a full year to work on something and to improve on something and finally see it months later, it kind of, I think, teaches you perseverance and to keep going on. And, you know, I think a good thing
Yeah.
kids these days can.
Now, when you won your gold medal and you reached the top, did you have any inkling you were going to do after skating? I mean, how did you plan for that? Because for 14 years, you were focused on skating. I mean, that's got to have been a little bit terrifying. Now what do I do?
It is, very much so. I think looking back now, it's like, wow, I think I was lucky. I really was kind of caught up in the whirlwind of things, not to be too, you know, scared or discouraged by that outlook, because it is like, well, can really at 20 years old be like the epitome of my life, you know, it's like the apex. So, you know, I think I was lucky in figure skating. There is a professional life after competition, so I focused and really dove into skating as a professional and, you know, developing my skills even more as an athlete and a performer. So it kind of gave me some new goals. But, you know, I think I always had, you know, education at the back of my mind and other things to do, and always knew that I would try to find new challenges to keep me going.
Awesome. Now, tell us more about Always Dream Foundation. I love this, but I want everyone else to know this.
Absolutely. So Always Dream Foundation, we established back in 1996. So believe it or not, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary next year, or this year.
This
We're
year.
in 2016.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, thank you.
Wow.
So
That went fast.
It went fast. Yes, absolutely. So it was always to focus on, you know, the hopes and dreams of children, and specifically underserved children. And we did many different things. In the last 5 years or so, we really focused in on early literacy. So we looked in ways and reached out to the community, reached out into the education world, and created a reading program that we bring into kindergarten classrooms.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So currently we're in 17 schools and over 64 classrooms, and expanding at least 2 to 4 schools every year. So
Nice. Now, do you
growing
bring in
pretty fast.
books, or do you bring in people to read to the students, or how does this all work?
So it's an actual program, and our main partner is Raising a Reader,
Okay.
and they are a book bag program. So the teachers receive book bags for each of their students to rotate home every week, so they get brand new books every week, and there's a parent engagement component where they really encourage the families at home to get involved with their children's
Oh, I love
education,
that.
and to teach them to sit down and you know, just spend that time and to get their children engaged in reading and books. And then we also pair digital technology with the program. So in the classroom, they receive tablets with ebooks,
Wow.
so that they can experience technology as well as, you know, the books.
Right.
So yeah, so it's been a fun program to get out into areas, and we're in a few different schools here in Fremont.
Yay.
And yeah.
So out of everything you could choose from, how did you start with literacy? Was that always a passion of yours, or did someone bring this, or did you see something? How did this all start?
Well, I probably have to say becoming a mom, really.
There you go.
So, you know, 5 years ago, my kids were at that learning to read age, and I had just written my first children's picture book, and, you know, it was just exposed a lot to the importance of literacy and how instrumental. It really is the fundamental building block to their education and their future success in not just school but in life. So as a small foundation, we thought, okay, we can really create something here, and instead of fixing a problem later on, really get kids off on the right foot early on.
Nice.
And so that became, kind of our focus. But I think becoming a mom and realizing, you know, how important reading was for them and how it affected their lives. And
You know what I love? I mean, you just beam when you talk about that. You have so much passion about that. I did so infectious. Now, if anyone wants more information about your foundation, where should they go?
They could go to alwaysdream.org.
Okay.
And we are based right here in the Bay Area. Okay. And yes, again, celebrating our 20th year. So.
And Kristi gave another gift to our school district
Why don't you
this
talk
year
about it?
that just was the most amazing gift, because we got the first call saying, how about if we give a book to every kindergartner in the school district? Oh, sure, no problem. We'll figure out the logistics of that. That is wonderful. And then we got the follow-up call saying,
You didn't believe her?
how about 5 books? And then the next call, how about 10 books? And we prepared the most incredible gift bags for every kindergarten child in this district. Took home
nice.
Book bags with 10 books that were a home library for many of our students, their first home library that they could keep at home. It was just an incredible, incredible gift.
That is. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes.
Now, who gets to choose the books?
Well, actually, we had a partnership with Leapfrog. Okay. So they were all Leapfrog books, 10 different titles. And during National Reading Month in 2015, which is March, we did a campaign with them with, pledge to read 20 minutes a day with your child. And
I like that.
Yes, and then Leapfrog, if you did that pledge, Leapfrog would donate 20 books to the Always Dream Foundation. So we accumulated all these books from people pledging to read, and obviously we want to reward the kids out there. So
how exciting for you!
But yeah.
Well, this was an amazing donation, because I didn't really
Are you
understand
sure,
how many pallets
that
showed up on your doors.
Show up, and we had for 2 weekends about 150 high school students spent.
Nice.
Each of them spent 6 to 8 hours sorting the books and unpacking the pallets and organizing them and then putting them in the bags. It was such an incredible experience for the high school students.
I bet.
And I have to tell you, Robertson High School had more volunteers at that event than any other school in this district.
They're great.
They really took it on as a project. It was just an unbelievable gift. And every place I go in the community, I'm getting the thank yous for you from parents and community members saying, that just amazed us.
So everyone watching, please thank Kristi.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a wonderful gift. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
There's a special event coming up, and I want everyone to know about it. The Fremont Education Foundation is honoring you this year. When did you get the phone call?
I think a couple months ago, or a few months ago. Yes, and obviously coming from Fremont, and my family's still here, right? Homegrown here.
Yes, absolutely.
So that really meant a lot, and I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Well, everyone here in Fremont is very proud to have you as one of our own who did good. And we thank you so much for being on this show. Dr. Morse, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
From everyone here at Community Conversations, we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.